Okay, so we all want to live longer. That's a given, right? But how do you actually do it? And more importantly, how do you do it in a way that, really matters? Well, that's what we're diving into. We're going to break down Dr. Peter Attia's really powerful framework for not just tacking on more years, but making every single one of those years better.
All right, let's kick things off with this idea, which is kind of mind-blowing when you really think about it. What if you just focused on getting stronger, or improving your memory, or just being happier, and you didn't worry one bit about specific diseases? The crazy thing is, you'd still get most of the benefits of a longer life. It turns out the secret to living longer is to focus on living better, right here, right now.
So, to really get there, we got to back up a step. We need to figure out what we're actually aiming for. It all starts with the why. We need to totally redefine what longevity even means.
And for Dr. Attia, longevity isn't just a single number, like how many birthdays you have. Nope. He sees it as a function of two totally different things he calls vectors. You've got your lifespan and you've got your health span. Both are super important, but trust me, they are not the same thing.
And this is where it gets really interesting, looking at the contrast between them. See, lifespan, that's easy. It's just a number. How many years you live. It's totally objective. You're either alive or you're not, right? But health span, ooh, that's a whole different ballgame. That's about how well you're living. It's way more subjective, a little messy, and it's all about the quality of your life. And we can break that health span idea down even more. Think of it as having three key parts. First, there's your physical health. Can you lift a heavy suitcase? Can you get up off the floor without using your hands? Then there's your cognitive health. How sharp is your mind, your memory? And just as crucial is your emotional health. How are your relationships? Do you feel a sense of purpose? This all leads to this brilliant little concept he calls the health span twofer. Think of it like a two-for-one deal. Because it turns out all the stuff you do to improve your health span, everything that makes you feel better and live better today, those are the exact same things that will add more years to your life. You get both benefits for the price of one.
Okay, so if our goal is to protect that health span, to live better, what's standing in our way? What are we actually up against? Let's get into the what of all this and meet the villains of the story. Attia calls them the four horsemen. These are the four big categories of disease that are the main roadblocks. First up, horseman number one, atherosclerotic diseases. We're talking heart attacks, strokes, that whole category. And yeah, this is the number one killer on the planet. But, and this is a big but, there's good news. This is the one we actually understand the best. We have the most tools in our toolbox to fight it. Horseman number two is cancer. And this one, well, it's a lot trickier. It's not just one thing. It's a complicated mix of your genetics, things in your environment, and as Attia points out, there's a big chunk of it that just comes down to plain old bad luck.
Coming in at number 3, we've got neurodegenerative diseases, things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And the key thing to remember here is this simple little phrase that's surprisingly on the money. What's good for the heart is good for the brain. A lot of the same strategies you use to fight horseman number 1 also help you fight this one.
And our fourth and final horseman is the whole family of metabolic diseases. Think type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease. Now this one is mostly caused by overnutrition, and it basically acts like gasoline on the fire. It doesn't just cause problems on its own, it makes all the other three horsemen way, way worse.
All right, so we know the goal, improve health span. We've met the enemies, the four horsemen. So what do we do about it? How do we actually fight back? It's time to get practical. Let's dig into the how and look at the 5 essential tools for your longevity toolkit.
So Attia's whole strategy really boils down to these 5 core pillars. These are the things you can actually do, and we're going to touch on each one. But just know, while they're all important, they are definitely not all created equal.
Okay, out of all those tools, there is one that stands head and shoulders above everything else. I mean, the data on this is just undeniable. Exercise is the undisputed king of interventions. It is, without a doubt, the single most powerful thing you can do for your health span and your lifespan. Nothing else even comes close.
Now let's talk about nutrition. It's an area with so much noise and confusion, right? But Attia really cuts through it all and says, look, there are 2 things we know for sure. First, energy balance. The total amount of calories you eat is the single most important factor, period. And second, protein. Of all the macronutrients, that's the one we need to be the least flexible on, especially as we get older.
Okay, deep breath. I know, right? We've just talked about health span, lifespan, 4 horsemen, 5 different tactics. It's a lot. And if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed right now, you're not alone. It's totally normal.
So you're probably asking, okay, great, but with all this information, where on earth do I even begin? What's the first step?
And the answer, thankfully, is just so simple and so powerful. Just one. That's it. Don't try to boil the ocean. Don't try to change everything overnight. Atiya's advice is to just pick one. One single area where you think, yeah, I can make a little progress there, and just start with that. Maybe that's just getting to bed 15 minutes earlier. Or maybe it's adding a bit more protein to your first meal of the day. Or just putting on your shoes and going for a walk. It doesn't have to be huge. So the real question, the one we want to leave you with, is what's your first step going to be?